Welcome to TNT Sports Talk. Today is Tuesday, August 14th. As always, we are presented by D's Home Cuts. I'm your host, Travis Karcheski, joined by my other host, Truman Karcheski.
How's it going, guys?
So football's back. We had our first full slate of preseason games. We're going to get into that a little bit later because even though football's back, it wasn't the top stories over the weekend. I mean, you got to start off with the PGA Championship. Tiger Woods was electric. I know, Truman, you're not a big golf guy, but you even know Sunday was electric based on how Twitter was reacting. Tiger really looked like his old form, even though he did finish in second place, which was kind of disappointing. It was amazing to really watch, the golf fans, come out of the woodwork, and finally, everybody gets behind a guy like Tiger Woods.
Yeah, I mean, golf's better when Tiger Woods is at the top of his game. You always say it. But, I don't really care about golf. I don't really watch it, so I'm not going to comment too much. But you're right, Twitter was on fire. Everyone was talking about it. Golf is better when Tiger Woods is at the top of his game.
You saw it on Sunday. Everybody was tweeting about it. Everybody was saying something about it. Tiger was on fire. He wasn't hitting his driver very well, and that's why I think that's what hurt him, a lot. But when he got in the fairway, he was killing it, and he played really well. There were some shots there on Sunday that made you really think Tiger is back to his old form, which is something people have been begging to see ever since, that incident with his wife a couple years ago, where he kind of fell off a lot, and now he's kind of coming back to form. He's been a couple games, couple tournaments now where he's been in contention on the last day. People get excited, and this was really, I think, just another step forward to him finally reaching that goal of winning another tournament, another major. So I'm really excited to see what he does in the future. And like Truman said, it's better for golf when Tiger Woods is in it. You can hate him all you want. I know he's done not the greatest things in the world, but you can hate him all you want. But at the end of the day, golf's better when Tiger Woods is playing well, or even when Tiger Woods is in it.
Definitely. I think the sport of golf is kind of needs Tiger Woods because it's kind of who everyone pulls for. Now, I don't like Tiger Woods. I don't like what he's done. But the sport of golf, it needs Tiger Woods to perform well because people are going to watch when Tiger's in it.
Yeah, and it was amazing. Sunday was really a fun day. Now we're going to move now to college football. The Big Ten, the last couple weeks, some of the coaching staffs have not been doing pretty well. And this story out of Maryland is just disgusting when you really read and look into it. So if you don't know, over the weekend, Maryland put their head football coach, I think his name's, no, nobody cares about Maryland football really, DJ Durkin. Durkin. They put him on leave right now as they're doing an investigation following the death of an offensive lineman, Jordan McNair, I believe his name was. He died, I think, in early June from heat stroke from one of the workouts. Now reports are starting to come out that this culture in Maryland is just really toxic, and it all kind of centers around their strength and conditioning coach, Rick Court, who is one of Durkin's first hires there at Maryland. There's been reports of them just killing guys in workouts, which I know it's football. Me and Truman have been through it. It's not the funnest thing in the world, strength and conditioning, going through that type of stuff in the summer. But this is just over the top. You can read story upon story about these coaches at Maryland making guys, do terrible workouts, humiliating them, embarrassing them, throwing weights and other objects in their directions. This is just something that needs to get solved right away before more people get hurt.
I don't understand this because Maryland, when they moved to the Big Ten, they haven't been successful. They've been kind of the bottom feeders of the Big Ten since they moved there. But they're trying to get better and they're trying to get recruits and stuff like that, and their uniforms and their stadium, and Maryland's an attractive place to go. I'd say for college.
Not anymore.
Not anymore though, because if I'm a recruit, why would I ever even consider going there if I'm just going to be humiliated, embarrassed, pushed to my absolute limit, possibly die, It's not going to help your recruiting program. It's not going to help your football program. And if I'm DJ Durkin, I don't see a future where he's going to be there because if I'm a recruit, considering Maryland, I won't go there because, obviously it's not a healthy environment under Durkin. So I don't see much of a future of him at Maryland. And I think Maryland's got to solve this right away if they want to have a successful program.
Yeah, and like I said, me and Truman, we played high school football. We know what it entails. It's not an easy environment to play. That's why not everybody plays it. It takes a really kind of special breed of person to go and play football because it's so difficult. These workouts are intense. Coaches are yelling. It's really hard. But I don't even know what college football is like. That's probably even a step up from that. And Maryland, these reports, I'm looking at them right now, are just insane. They have players, players' meals were slapped out of their hands in front of the team. Small weights were thrown in their direction. Humiliation and embarrassment of players is common. They've made players as punishment overeat to the point of vomiting. They make fun of people for passing out during workouts. It's just a real toxic environment. And I'm glad that light has kind of been shown on this because it needs to be solved. It's disgusting to watch. And hopefully, I don't think DJ Durkin last past this. If you're the head coach, this is something that you can't let go on in your program. I don't think he'll last. I think he'll be fired. And hopefully they can kind of change the culture. Because Maryland's been a pretty historical football school for a long time. Hopefully they can get it back on track.
Yeah, I think Durkin's got to go. Recruits, this is not going to help their recruiting. That probably wasn't all that great in the first place. So I don't understand, what they're going to try to do here. But the first thing Maryland's got to do is get rid of this coaching staff and its head coach because they need to change this program around, and this is not going to do it.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll keep up on that story, but now we're going to move to the NFL. Preseason week 1, really exciting. I know, if you're not diehard fans, preseason football is not that exciting. But when you get to just watch, football upon football every second of every single day, it's really fun to watch, having multiple games going on at once. So we're going to go through each game, give the score, and then, our reactions, stuff that comes out of the game. We'll start with Carolina versus Buffalo. Carolina won 28-25. Got to see a first action from Josh Allen. He didn't look great. He didn't look like the next phenom, but he looked solid. He has a huge arm. You saw some of these throws, but he looked pretty good, I would say. But out of that game, obviously, that was what everyone was kind of watching. But out of that game came a storyline that kind of fizzled out, which was Kelvin Benjamin versus Cam Newton fighting on the field. You saw the video. Cam came up to him before the game and started to confront him, tried to shake his hand. Kelvin Benjamin, being the little wuss that he is, wouldn't shake his hand, wouldn't touch him, and kind of just walked away because Kelvin Benjamin isn't a guy who's going to stand up and admit what he did, admit what he said, and stand by his word. He's going to shy away like the little wuss that he is.
I don't understand what you're saying. I think Cam Newton came up to him and tried to be fake, shake his hand and act like it was all buddy-buddy, but Kelvin Benjamin wasn't having it. I don't think, he was going to, stand down to his comments. He didn't like playing with Cam Newton. He said that multiple times. He said
he didn't want to stand down to his comments.
Yeah.
He said something about Cam Newton. Cam Newton in the press. Cam Newton wasn't around. Cam Newton now is around. He came up to him. Why isn't Kelvin Benjamin man enough to say it to his face?
Cam Newton came up to him, shook his hand.
Tried to shake his hand.
Yeah, and Kelvin Benjamin wasn't having it.
Yeah, why not?
Because he doesn't like Cam Newton. He obviously said he didn't like playing with Cam Newton.
So you can't shake his hand?
No, what he did, he's standing down to his comments.
He's standing down to his comments. I want a guy who stands up to his comments. If you really believe Cam Newton is not a good quarterback, you really believe that truly, then why don't you say it to his face like a man? Why do you shy away?
Because I think he said what he needs to say. He said it in public. He said it to everyone. He wanted everyone to hear it.
He didn't say it to Cam Newton in his face.
Because why did Cam Newton come up to him and try to be buddy-buddy with him?
Cam Newton wants to hear him say it to his face. You're going to talk crap about me?
You didn't hear what they were saying.
You want to talk crap about me?
You think Cam Newton said, say it to my face?
Well, that's pretty much the premise behind it.
You don't know that. You don't know what they said.
If you're going to talk crap about me, at least be a man to come up to me. And when I come up to you, stand behind your comments. Don't shy away. Don't start to walk away like Kelvin Benjamin did.
I don't understand. He didn't shake his hand.
Yeah, he did.
Because he doesn't like Cam
Newton.
Newton.
He started to walk away.
He doesn't like Cam Newton.
He started to walk away.
Because he didn't want to deal with it.
If you say
Do
those
you think
comments,
Kelvin Benjamin wanted the drama?
If you're willing to say those comments to the press, you have to be willing to back that up in front of Cam Newton and his face.
No, I don't think he has to do that. You don't know. And
that's what a man does.
You don't know what Cam Newton was. Also, a man, if someone talks crap about you gonna go up to him and shake his hand and be all buddy with him?
No, you're gonna go up to him and say, "Hey, why'd you say that about me?"
No, you're probably gonna shake it. You won't want to go up there. You don't know what Cam Newton said.
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious.
You think Cam Newton's this big tough guy? Go over there and say, "Oh, why didn't you say it to my face?" No, Cam Newton went up there and tried to shake his hand and be fake.
Cam Newton, you saw the video, came up there, put his hand out, waved Thomas Davis away. For some reason, I think it's because he wanted to confront him, and he started to talk to him. Kelvin Benjamin started to walk away, started to shake it up, started to kind of wave him off. I think it's pretty clear we don't have to be a lip reader to tell what that all was about.
Yeah, I think you can't just sit here and assume that Cam Newton was the big tough guy and went up to him and said, "Say it to my face."
Cam Newton didn't have to go up to him.
Yeah, why did he?
Because he wanted to hear what he said to his face.
He heard what he said.
I respect Cam Newton a whole lot because of that. He walked up to him. He put his hand out. Kelvin Benjamin being the wuss that he is.
You don't know Kelvin Benjamin.
Shied away. I hate Kelvin Benjamin.
Why? Because he said one thing bad about Cam Newton.
Kelvin Benjamin talked all this crap about Cam Newton in Carolina. When Kelvin Benjamin was the problem in Carolina. Kelvin Benjamin is the reason why he hasn't succeeded. He showed up to camp overweight. He was a huge fat wide receiver after a pretty good rookie year. He's been dealing with injuries, and he hasn't really done a lot to fix those. He's just been overweight, and then finally Carolina got sick of it and shipped him off because that's where he belongs. He didn't belong in Carolina because he's not willing to put in the work. And what does he do? He goes to Buffalo, and he puts all the blame on Cam Newton, and that's not what a man does.
I think you're calling out someone who's never had issues.
Kelvin Benjamin?
Yeah, he's never had like issues, like he's never been suspended. He's never done anything like that.
He showed up 80 pounds
He's had
overweight.
injury problems. So does that make him a bad person?
Well, no, it just shows.
You're calling him a wuss and calling him a bad person because he went out and said what he needed to say. He didn't feel like Cam Newton was the right quarterback for him, and he's right. If he had Tom Brady, if he had Aaron Rodgers, I guarantee you Kelvin Benjamin will be a good receiver.
Any receiver would be a good receiver with Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Cam Newton is a good quarterback. He's a top 5, top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And to say, oh, the only reason I didn't succeed is because I didn't have an accurate quarterback is completely false. You show up 80 pounds overweight in camp. You show up a fat receiver, slow. You lose all your speed because you decided to gorge yourself over the offseason and not show up in shape.
Does that make him a bad person?
It's his fault, though. And
Does that make him a bad person?
Why does he blame Cam
Why
Newton?
are you calling him a wuss and a bad person when the only things you're saying is he showed up overweight and he said what he needed to say about Cam Newton?
Because Kelvin Benjamin says Kelvin Benjamin basically said
he didn't say Cam Newton was a bad person.
He said Kelvin Benjamin is one of the main reasons why I'm not succeeding in the NFL, why I didn't succeed in Carolina, which is not true at all.
You don't know that.
He showed up 80 pounds overweight. You're not going to be a good receiver.
What was his exact quote?
I'll look it up right now. But
his exact quote was, if I had someone like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, I would have been better, or something like that, which is true, because Cam Newton shouldn't be eating at the same table as Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees.
Well, Kelvin Benjamin's eating at any table he wants because he's a fat piece of crap.
That makes no sense to me. You're calling him a bad person because he's overweight and he said what he needed to say. You're calling him a wuss because, why? Because he went out in the public and said what he needed to say?
Well, I'm looking up the quote right now. I'm just saying a guy doesn't put all this blame on Cam Newton when he was the main reason as to why he didn't succeed in Carolina.
Well, I mean, Cam Newton hasn't really had a good receiver there for years, so maybe that's the issue.
This is the quote. I'll just paraphrase the whole thing. They asked him, how did you feel your career has been since your rookie season? Kelvin Benjamin said, I feel like I would have been more successful if I don't know, man. Looking back on it, I should have never went to Carolina. It was a bad place for me, a bad fit from the get-go, which is not true. He had a good rookie year. Any other accurate quarterback like Rodgers, Eli Manning, or Big Ben, anybody, quarterbacks with knowledge, they just know how to place the ball and give you a better chance to catch the ball. I just feel like I wasn't in that position. So that's a straight shot at Cam Newton. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So when Cam Newton, he's basically saying it was a bad situation because he didn't have a quarterback who can place the ball and give him a better chance to catch the ball. which is not true because Cam Newton is one of the top 15. I think we can easily say that. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He's shown that over his career. He makes guys successful.
That he's one of the most inconsistent quarterbacks in the league?
He's made guys successful.
Who's he made successful?
Devin Funchess right now is playing really well.
How?
You think Devin Funchess
is playing really well.
You think Devin Funchess complains about Cam Newton? No, because Cam Newton can get the ball to him. I'm not saying Cam Newton is the most accurate.
I'm asking you right now, who's Cam Newton made successful?
I'm not saying Cam Newton is the best quarterback in the NFL, the most accurate, but I'm saying he's a good enough quarterback that if you are a good receiver willing to work hard, he will make you successful.
Who's he made successful?
And to put all the blame on Cam Newton is simply untrue. You showed up.
Who's Cam Newton made successful?
You showed up overweight. You showed up fat and out of shape, and your stats suffered.
Who's Cam Newton made successful?
You can't put all that blame on Cam Newton.
Who's Cam Newton made successful?
Devin Funchess has played really well.
He's not a top 20 receiver.
That doesn't matter. Never is Kelvin, but not Kelvin Benjamin either.
I'm asking you who Cam Newton has made successful. You said that three times. Cam Newton makes people successful. Who has he made successful?
He's took his team to the Super Bowl. He made Devin Funchess into a pretty solid wide receiver.
Not even top 20, not even top 25.
Really solid wide receiver.
No, he would be 3 on a decent wide receiver.
Yeah, because they don't have a lot of talent there.
Who's he made successful?
Greg Olsen is one of the best.
Greg Olsen was good in Chicago.
Not like he is in
Carolina. Oh my gosh!
I mean, we can get into that all you want, but all I'm saying is when a guy.
I've seen multiple receivers come through Carolina, and I haven't seen one receiver made successful by Cam Newton.
Name one guy.
Devin Funchess was a first-round pick, wasn't he? Second-round pick.
Name one guy outside of Carolina right now who played with Cam Newton that is successful.
Who? Give me one.
Give me one. That's what I'm saying.
I can't even think of one that's not in Carolina anymore.
He hasn't really had a lot of talent on the outside.
But who's he made successful?
Devin Funchess is a great
You're
receiver.
giving me one example of a receiver who's not even top 25.
Greg Olsen is a top 5 tight end.
Cam Newton did that?
Yes, he's made him successful.
Greg Olsen was a great tight end in Chicago.
I think you're missing the point. I'm not saying that Cam Newton is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He is, though. He is a top 10 quarterback.
Then why aren't you saying it? You just said that you're not saying he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Can I talk? Cam Newton is a top 10 quarterback in the league. He has the ability to throw the ball where he wants to throw it. That's why he won an MVP. You don't give MVPs to quarterbacks if they can't throw you the ball. And to say the only reason it didn't work out in Carolina was because Cam Newton is completely false. This guy showed up overweight, out of shape after a pretty good rookie year, and then his career and his stats suffered because of that, and he's saying it's Cam Newton's fault.
He said Cam Newton was not helping him.
He wasn't helping himself,
if he didn't want to play for Cam Newton, listen, why would he be out there lying?
What do you mean?
He said Cam Newton's wasn't the right quarterback.
Why would he be out there lying? Because he doesn't want to put the blame on himself.
Yeah, but I also think that, listen, I don't think Kelvin Benjamin's in the right here, but I also stand back behind his comments because I don't think Cam Newton's the best quarterback in the league. I think he's got a big personality. I think we've seen it multiple times. Cam Newton's, not all that great of a quarterback.
He won an MVP.
Great, but what's he done after that? He choked in the Super Bowl.
He was in a car accident, was hurt most of the year.
Excuses.
Excuses. Kelvin Benjamin, you're defending a guy who just made a huge excuse as to why he sucked in Carolina.
I'm defending that. You came out here and said he's a wuss and a bad guy.
Yeah, because
he's never been suspended. He's never. All you're saying is that he said bad things about Cam Newton. He showed up to camp overweight. He's a horrible person. And he's a wuss.
Yeah, he showed up.
Okay, that's
before that game. To say
a lot of worse people in the world.
Let's say somebody talks crap behind your back and you see them in public. Are you man enough to go up to them and try to get them to say it to their face? Because I want to hear the story. If you're gonna talk crap about me, I want you to say it in front of my face. I don't want to hear it for some news story, down the line. I want you to say it to my face.
You're assuming that Cam Newton went up to him and said, "Say it to my face."
Well, what do you think Cam Newton said to him?
I think he went up there and tried to be fake and shake his hand and ask him how everything's going.
Yeah, and that's what he did. He wanted to hear from him. He wanted to hear, talk to me. Talk straight to my face. Don't talk behind my back. Talk to me.
I think
be a man. Come to me.
You're assuming that Cam Newton's this big, badass. Cam Newton went up to him and said, say it to my face. No, Cam Newton went up there and shake his hand and tried to be fake.
Cam Newton went up to his face and said, you try and talk crap about me, try to say it to my face. That's what I believe. I guess we can't read lips, but I think we can kind of decide what happened there. He didn't go up to him and try to, be buddies with him, because obviously from the tone of his face, he wasn't trying to be fake and try to be buddies with him.
I think he was trying to be fake.
Okay, well, we can't really read lips here, but to put all the blame on Cam Newton as to why your career has suffered is completely wrong, and everybody knows that. So now we're going to move to the other game that was a little longer than we wanted to. Cincinnati versus Chicago. Cincinnati won 30-27. Cincinnati, kind of a boring team over the offseason, but they've had two second-year guys, I think, step up in that game. John Ross looked pretty good. He's had a pretty good camp. And then Joe Mixon looked really good.
Yeah, Cincinnati looked good. 37 points. That was pretty good.
30-27.
What?
32-27.
30.
They put up 30.
30 points. That's pretty good. I don't know I didn't know the Andy Dalton stat line or anything else. But they need John Ross to step up. They need him to be the second tier to AJ Green. And Joe Mixon, if he can pan out, he's a really high potential player. That would be big too.
Yeah, I'll run through these pretty quickly because we got to get through these. New Orleans versus Jacksonville. New Orleans won 24-20. Blake Bortles looked pretty solid in that game. Wouldn't you say?
I didn't see the stat line.
Then Tampa Bay versus Miami. Tampa Bay got the win 26-24. Ryan Tannehill looked pretty solid off of his ACL injury. That's going to be huge for the Dolphins if he can get back healthy.
If Ryan Tannehill is healthy and performing at a top level, that's everything for the Dolphins. I don't see it in him. I don't think he's going to be a top-tier quarterback, especially after the ACL injury, but that's big for the Dolphins if he can come back healthy.
Big game, Cleveland versus New York. Cleveland won 20-10. I'll spend a little time on this game. You look at the rookies. Saquon had a pretty solid first run. He looked good. I'm not willing to put the All-Star Pro Bowl stamp on him yet, just because of one run yet.
It was a pretty sweet run though.
It was nice, but I'm not willing to put that. But the Browns, they had three guys stood out to me in that game. Baker Mayfield, Antonio Callaway, and Njoku. Njoku looked really, really good. He had 2 touchdowns. Baker Mayfield looked solid in his first start. And Antonio Callaway, Hugh Jackson decided to punish him by playing him the entire game, which is kind of different than what you see the last couple of years in Cleveland. Usually they just suspend him. But Hugh Jackson said, no, we're not suspending you. You're going to play the entire game. There was reports Antonio Callaway tried to come out, tried to, get a break, but Hugh Jackson waved it off and told him to get back out there, which I really respect from Hugh Jackson. I like that move a lot.
Yeah, did he come out and say that was his punishment?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that is pretty funny. That's pretty good. It'll end up being pretty good for him, I think, the experience. He went out and played against the 1s, he played against 2s, he played against the 3s, and he looked pretty good. But it was kind of obvious because when he played against the 1s and stuff, he didn't look all that great. But then when he went and played against the 2s and 3s, he looked like he was just one of the best receivers of all time. But I think that was big for him, the experience. I don't think, it was a punishment, but I don't think it'll end up being a punishment because I think it'll be good for him.
One guy that kind of stood out to me in a negative way was Nick Chubb. I don't know if it's that offensive line is struggling, but he was really dancing around that backfield. He did not have a great first game. I would like to see him bounce back because I know he can. We saw it at Georgia, but it was kind of a disappointing game from him.
Yeah, that interior of the Browns' offensive line, I think, is really the one that needs to be blamed because no running back on the Browns looked good. And we'll see, but I like their offensive line, but I think that has to be where the blame goes because no running back on the Browns look good. It can't just be put on Nick Chubb.
Pittsburgh versus Philadelphia, 31-14 Pittsburgh. Nate Sudfeld from Philadelphia, he looked really good. I'm willing to go out on a limb here and say Philadelphia has the best quarterback room in the league with Sudfeld, Foles, and Wentz.
Yeah, I don't think that's a limb. I think that's pretty clear cut. If Sudfeld, I think he might get a starting job in this league one day because he's been sitting behind 2 pretty good quarterbacks in Nick Foles and Carson Wentz, and he's just, I don't think he should be a third-string quarterback.
Then Rams versus Baltimore. Baltimore won 33-7, which is a little shocking. Joe Flacco looked really good. Lamar Jackson looked okay, but I don't think he's ready. I think this game kind of solidified that there's really not a quarterback competition going on in Baltimore right now.
No, I think the only way Lamar Jackson sees the field this year is if Joe Flacco got hurt. I think people are hyping that up way more than it should be. I think that it's not a quarterback competition. I think Joe Flacco's the starting quarterback. I just think Lamar Jackson's got the hype.
New England versus Washington. New England won 26-17. Obviously, the big story of that game was Darius Geis tore his ACL. That's really sucks to see that because I really like Geis. I would really, excited for him to see him play. He had a pretty good run. So to go out like that with an ACL tear is just heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's really going to hurt the Redskins' offense, I think. I think they're planning on him being a major role for them this year. But, we'll see. I think Alex Smith, I think there's enough talent around them to compete.
And then Green Bay versus Tennessee. Green Bay won 31-17. A little biased, but those rookie wide receivers, especially Scalding, who led the league. Scantling, whatever. Led the league in receiving for everybody. He looked really good. Harold Landry looked pretty solid for the Titans. So hopefully, we found some young talent in that game.
Green Bay looked good. That's all I'm going to say.
Houston versus Kansas City, 17-10. Houston. Mahomes looked pretty good. Everyone's saying he's had a bad camp, but he had a pretty good game. And then Deshaun Watson, again, he had the ACL tear, a lot of questions surrounding him. He came out, didn't play a lot, but he had also a pretty good game. So this was kind of a game where two big question marks at quarterback for both teams came out and kind of played well. They didn't play great. They didn't completely change everything, but they played pretty well enough to where I think Kansas City fans can settle down now, and I think Texans fans can kind of calm their worries a little bit.
Yeah, that's a game full of the young quarterbacks really took fruition there. What's Mahomes gonna do this year? And then is Deshaun Watson gonna be 100% after his injury? I think they both look pretty good though.
San Francisco versus Dallas. San Francisco won 24-21. This game, again, we talked about Sudfeld. A backup, I really like a young backup who the Cowboys really like, Cooper Rush. He played really, really well. If you don't know anything about him, he's a guy, undrafted free agent, rookie free agent, I think, last year. They cut a couple guys to keep him because he played so well. And he came out and he played really well for the Cowboys. I don't think he'll get a starting job here soon, but that's a name to watch for because they really like him in Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas, I think they got their starting quarterback in Dak Prescott, but is he the backup there or is he the third string? Backup. So
he went from undrafted rookie free agent to the backup last year.
So yeah, they're really trusting in him. So that's a name to watch.
Indianapolis for Seattle. Indianapolis won 19-17. Really cool to see Andrew Luck out there. That was huge, especially for Colts fans. Seattle, we've been saying it all year, and I think we proved the point. That O-line is just trash. It's just garbage. They got one good piece there in Dwayne Brown, but everything else, he's old. It's just bad. Rashad Penny, there was a couple runs where he just had nowhere to go because that offensive line is just insanely bad.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a year for that offensive line. I don't know who in the Seahawks front office. They just need to figure out what they can do to fix that and start rebuilding that offensive line because that's their number one cripple right now.
Jets versus Atlanta. Jets won 17-0. Everyone was watching Sam Darnold. He played really well. Teddy Bridgewater played really well. It kind of sucks for the Jets. I mean, they're another team where they might have one of the best quarterback rooms in the league. But Darnold played pretty well. Bridgewater played pretty well. It's because, it muddies the water some more who's going to be starting quarterback there week 1.
Well, I don't think that's a problem, and I don't know if I would go ahead and say they have one of the best quarterback rooms.
I would say
the
so.
NFL. I mean, Josh McCown's not...
Josh McCown's a proven solid veteran.
Solid veteran. Teddy Bridgewater hasn't proven anything in this league. And
yes, he has. He's a solid quarterback. He just has a bad injury.
No. And then Sam Darnold hasn't proved anything yet. But Sam Darnold looked really good, and I think he'll be the starter week 1.
Detroit versus Oakland. Detroit won 16-10. That was cool to see Gruden out there coaching. Marshawn Lynch, I know he had that run call back. He's a guy everyone's kind of forgetting about, I think. He had a kind of boring season last year, didn't do much. But he had a pretty good run. He looked a lot faster than what he was in the past. So that's something to watch for.
Yeah, I mean, I picked up Marshawn Lynch in my fantasy league pretty late. I'm pretty pumped about that. I think he's going to have a pretty good season for them, and I think Gruden is going to notice that.
Minnesota versus Denver. The Case Keenum revenge game. Minnesota won 42-28. Kirk Cousins, as much as I hate to say it, he looked really, really good. I think he was perfect passing, which is insane. That's pretty good. If I'm a Vikings fan, that's a good sign. Putting up 42 points in a preseason game is a pretty good start.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, preseason, I wouldn't call Vikings, the next best thing, but, pretty good start.
Then the last game, Arizona versus the Chargers, 24-17. Arizona got the win. David Johnson looked good, coming back off that injury. Josh Rosen looked okay, didn't look anything special, but first start, got to give him some time.
Yeah, I think he looked the worst of the rookie quarterbacks, but I think he's going to be pretty good, so I give him some time. And Sam Bradford looked very good too.
All right, so that's it. That rounds up all the preseason games. We'll give you some games to watch for on Thursday's show. A couple more stories in the NFL we got to go through pretty quickly here. Dante Fowler and Jalen Ramsey, both suspended for a week by the Jaguars because I guess Jalen Ramsey was kind of calling out the local media in Jacksonville. This is just Doug Marrone, who I really like as a head coach. This is him establishing control in that locker room, which was something he needs to do. You saw it last year when he suspended Leonard Fournette for a game because he missed the team picture. It's not a big loss because you're just losing them for 1 week of preseason, I think. So it's not huge, but it's huge in the sense that it really, establishes Doug Marrone as that head coach there. He's the leader of that locker room. He's not going to take, any sort of disrespect to anybody. And this team, that's why this team has been so successful, because of him.
Yeah, I think Doug Marrone's a very good head coach, like you said, but it shows the young players in Jacksonville that he's not going to mess around, and you better obey him, and you better obey the rules, or something bad will happen. So it's not a big loss for Jaguars fans. It's nothing to be worried about. But, it just proves that Doug Marrone's not going to take shit.
Yeah, I don't think they should be worried. I think they should be excited because it just proves he's going to keep control of this locker room no matter what. If he might, put the win in jeopardy because he has to suspend his star running back for a game just because something as small as a photo, I think it's good in the long run. Now, that's why I really respect Doug Marrone as a head coach.
Absolutely.
So now we're going to move to baseball, but before that, I wanted to remind you that our show is brought to you by D's Home Cuts. Like we said, we've been getting a haircut at D's for the last couple months. Only $7. You're going to get a really good haircut. He's going to style it. You're going to have a lot of fun while you're doing it. You have to get your appointments in now. He's heading off to school here soon, so make sure you set up the appointments in his Instagram bio. Really easy, really quick. $7. You can go in there, get a quick little haircut, and enjoy a game of Fortnite while you do it. Sit there in the chair and play some video games while you do it. But he is going to school soon, so we ask that you get your appointments in quick before he leaves. So go check him out. Find him on Instagram at D's Home Cuts. D's Home Cuts, professional haircuts at a low price. So baseball is moving on here. We're getting closer and closer to those September call-ups, which is kind of, the point in the season where playoffs really start to heat up. The playoff race really starts to heat up. But before that, we have a playoff team with the Cleveland Indians. Leonis Marte, they traded for him with the Tigers. It's kind of been a weird story because, I'm an Indians fan, so I've been following it. He was put on the DL first of all, he missed the start, and everyone was wondering why he missed the start. And the team tweeted that he's been having some stomach issues. Everybody thought he just had, the stomach flu or something, food poisoning. And then they put him on the DL 10, put him on a 10-day DL, and everyone was kind of like, oh, that's kind of shocking, but I guess he's still dealing with this. But then it came out yesterday that he has a bacterial infection, and he's been in the hospital. And a couple days ago, they were worried that he might even lose his life from this because it's been affecting his organs. Nobody had any clue about this at all, and it just came out, and it was kind of shocking because he's had a really good couple games here with the Indians, and it sucks to see. I don't know when he's gonna be back. It sucks to see that this is going on right now, and I hope he gets better because obviously this is much more important than winning baseball games. Hopefully. He's improving, but hopefully he can be back to his full health here soon.
Yeah, it's just a scary situation. Don't know much on the player or who he is or what he does, but
he hits bombs. That's what he does.
Well, not right now.
Yeah. What?
He's in stable condition, so
Whoa.
I think that I think he'll be okay. But prayers go out to him and the Indians and I think everyone's rooting for him to be okay and come back to full strength.
Yeah, they saw last night. It's pretty cool. They wrote LM13 on all their hats. The Indians, because we're a family here in Cleveland, unlike most baseball teams. And we really support our players. So we hope he gets back to full health. He's in great hands with the Cleveland Clinic. So hopefully he'll be okay, and I think he will. I don't know if he'll play baseball again this season. Obviously, I would like to see him back, but if it's something like this, life-threatening, obviously he needs to take care of that before anything else. So baseball, like we said, is rounding out. We're gonna go through the playoff predictions right now, our updated predictions. We're gonna start doing more predictions as the weeks go on here, because it's gonna be changing a lot here soon. So we'll start with the AL. I think the top 3 seeds are set. Although the Indians, they're pushing the Astros for that second seed. I could see. Don't be surprised if that happens. But right now, Red Sox, Astros, Indians. In that wild card spots, I think Oakland and the Yankees got it right now. I think they'll stay with it. Oakland's having a magical year. I don't see Seattle pushing for it. I don't think they're going to get it right now. Maybe not this year. They just need more pitching. But that's where I see it right now. Red Sox, Astros, Indians, those spots could switch. And then Oakland and the Yankees.
Yeah, I think the AL's pretty set. But I'm rooting for Seattle. But excuse me, you're right. Oakland is a really, really good story, and I think they will get it. But Seattle's right there. They can get it, they can push, but either way, I don't see one of those teams beating the Yankees in the Bronx in the wild card game. But I'm rooting for Seattle to end that slump and end that playoff drought.
What you think about the Indians coming up on the Astros?
How many games
second
back?
Seed. I think it's about 2 games back right now for that second seed.
The Astros are the second best team in baseball.
I don't know about that. Indians are coming up on them pretty quickly here. We've had a pretty solid couple of weeks. The NL, it's a lot closer than the AL right now. The NL's like the AL's little brother. But number 1 seed right now is the Cubs. I think that stays that way. They're starting to get a little bit of a lead there in the NL Central. Philadelphia, Atlanta has a second seed right now. I think Philadelphia has added a lot of talent over the past couple of weeks. They added Justin Bour at first base, which is going to help. So I think they take the second seed. Third seed, I think Arizona gets that division. And then 4 or 5 wild card, I think it goes Atlanta and then the Dodgers, which would be really cool to see a playoff game in Atlanta, that new stadium. It's going to be really electric, really exciting.
Well, a lot of false you just said that the Cubs are gaining ground in the NL Central.
It's 3 games right now?
Yeah, and we play them this week. 2-game series, and we also play them. I think it's some team we played the most in coming for the rest of the regular season. So I don't know what you said there. I also don't understand how you're gonna throw Milwaukee out of the wild card game at least. It doesn't make much sense to me. Proves that you're pretty biased and you're not ready to make real sports predictions when you're that idiotic. So I'm gonna go I think the Brewers are going to win the division still. I'm not going to say that they're not. 2, I think the Diamondbacks will get the 2 seed. I think the Diamondbacks are a really good team. 3, I think Atlanta's going to win the division. And then 4, Dodgers, 5, Phillies.
You don't think the Cubs get in at all?
Shit, I forgot about the Cubs.
Exactly.
I'm going to go...
I can't make sports predictions when you're putting the Cubs out of the playoffs.
No. I'm going to go 4 Cubs, 5 Dodgers.
All right, yeah. Yeah, you needed to fix that. So now we're going to move to basketball, go quickly through this. Carmelo Anthony inked that deal yesterday with the Hawks. It's official. He's coming to Houston. It's exciting. I'm really excited for him. This is his first opportunity to finally play with one of his best friends in the league, and Chris Paul. Everybody's excited for him. James Harden's talking about it. Mike D'Antoni is excited to get another shot at coaching him. It's just positive.
He's excited to get another shot at coaching him.
Yeah, he already quoted it. Can't take back quotes. Kelvin Benjamin knows that. Carmelo Anthony got that new energy, got that new vibe going. It's fresh start in Houston. James Harden's excited. Chris Paul's excited. I'm excited. We're all excited to watch this new look Rockets team dominate the West and finally upset the Warriors. Book it right then and there.
So I don't think it's one to talk about. It's just a signing of a old veteran player that's
old superstar. Yeah, okay. Carmelo Anthony's coming back this
anymore. Year. All he is a locker room cancer. So
never been a locker room cancer. All right. Let's continue with our basketball previews. We're just going to do the Phillies and Portland today.
Phillies and Portland.
Phillies. 76ers, Philadelphia, Philly, and Portland. So Philly had a pretty good year last year, kind of overachieved. Nobody expected them to be this good that fast. They're going to get Markelle Fultz back fully healthy, that first pick. They added Wilson Chandler. They didn't really lose much. They just lost Ilyasova, who was just a bench player for him. Adding Wilson Chandler is a lot better than Ilyasova. So they did get better, I think. We'll see what happens with Markelle Fultz. I don't know, how good he can be. He was dominant at Washington, but we'll see. So I think this team is going to be competing for a long time there in the East. They'll be competing with the Celtics, I think, for that number 1, number 2 seed.
Yeah, I mean, the 76ers are a good team, but injuries always cripple them, so you never really know.
Yeah, you see Joel Embiid playing soccer in, some third world country,
and he can't
diving on his back,
healthy,
and he's I don't
So I don't know. The 76ers, if healthy, they're going to be one of the best teams in the league, but if healthy is a huge question because they've never been truly healthy. We've never seen them at full force, so you can't say that they will be. But, they've got the talent. Ben Simmons is one of the better young players in the league. So is Joel Embiid. I really like this team. I mean, I hate them, but as far as talent goes, you really gotta like them. So I think they're gonna be much improved this year. But in the East, but that's because LeBron leaves. But I still think they're maybe a couple years away from really competing for the finals.
Then Portland, they didn't do much over the offseason. They added, I forget who their first round pick was. Wasn't anything special. Maybe it'll prove me wrong. They added Seth Curry, kind of a bench scorer. Didn't do much in Dallas. But Portland, they're the 3rd seed last year. They have talent. CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard, I'm willing to put up there as the best, second best, third best backcourt combinations in the league. And, all you need is that to carry you, really. They re-signed Nurkic, which was huge. He's a pretty good big. They didn't do enough to upset the Warriors, so this is just going to be a team stuck in that 3 to 5 seed ratio right there in the West.
I think they're going to falter more. I think they're down to the 6 and 8 seed. Just the talent that's being added in the West, Portland's just not competing with. I don't think, LeBron adding to the West is going to hurt them. It just goes to show, they got the Warriors, Rockets, Lakers. The Nuggets look good, the Thunder. So the Trailblazers are behind some teams, and next offseason or in the upcoming offseason, they really need to add some talent to gain ground in the West.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens there. I like Portland. I think Portland's a pretty solid team. I don't think they're good enough to beat Houston or the Warriors. But this is a good team. If they were to go to the East, obviously I think they'd be the number 1 seed and dominate. Because I really like Damian Lillard. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the game today, especially CJ McCollum. Don't be surprised if they start to kind of trade away this talent when they realize that the Warriors, they can't compete with the Warriors or the Rockets. CJ McCollum's been in multiple trade rumors. He's a hot trade piece. Damian Lillard, same thing. Reports are he wants to go to LA. That's out there almost every single day. So we'll see what happens there. But that's an interesting team to keep a watch for. And it's a fun team to watch. So we're going to move now to question and answer. We got to move a little bit quicker than we want, but only got 2 questions today. But before that, obviously our show is brought to you by A's Lawn Service. Since 2014, Andrew and his crew have been shaping up homes around Northeast Ohio and doing a great job at a fair and affordable price. You see these big landscaping companies, they come through. They charge you a lot of money. They just bring a lot of different little high school kids around who are just there kind of for the paycheck. They don't really like what they do. They're not there. They don't put pride in their work. But you get a completely different experience when you hire A's Lawn Service. it's a group of high school kids too, but it's owned by a high school kid. We've been known Andrew for a long time. He really puts pride in his work, and he only hires the best workers around. So give him a call. It's affordable. He'll just come through. He'll do a great job, and you won't have any complaints. You will not be disappointed. The phone number is 330-241-2392. Again, 330-241-2392. And the email is lawnservice.a's@gmail.com. Give him a call. Send him an email. Set up an appointment. Make your lawn and your home look great. A's Lawn Service LLC. You grow it, we cut it. So, Trim, out of those 5 rookie quarterbacks, which one impressed you the most?
I would say Sam Darnold. I think he looked the most NFL ready, and he didn't even start training camp. He didn't play at the start of training camp for the Jets, and he came in there and he looked like he was just an absolute 6-year NFL veteran pro. He moved outside the pocket, stayed in the pocket, made all the throws you want to see your quarterback make. And I think everyone's kind of banking on him to be, the starter day one, and that's kind of crazy for a rookie quarterback nowadays. But Baker Mayfield obviously looked amazing as well. I'd say it's easily between those two, but I think Sam Darnold looked the most NFL ready.
Yeah, I'd go best from worst. Darnold, Mayfield, Josh Allen, Rosen, Lamar Jackson. Not to say Lamar Jackson did a bad job, but I think he's obviously not comfortable enough to stand in the pocket. He runs around a lot, that's what he's used to. You can teach a guy all you want how to stand in the pocket and throw, but when it gets down to, snapping that ball, you're in between those white lines, he's going to do what he's used to, what's worked for him in the past, and he's going to run the ball. And he should, because he's really good at running the ball. I just don't think the Ravens' offense is based around their quarterback running. Joe Flacco's not a Lamar Jackson type of athlete. So I think in a couple years from now, I think Lamar Jackson is going to be a pretty good pro. I don't think you'll see him starting at all this year. I don't think he should start at all this year. Darnold, I think, is the best option right now if you were going to start one of these 5 guys. I think McCown starts week 1 because I think McCown's more ready to take that workload. But you saw Baker Mayfield and Darnold are ready to start week 1 if you needed them to. But I don't think any of them will. None of those 5 will.
You don't think Darnold's going to start week 1?
No, I think McCown starts week 1.
It's reports out of the Jets training camp that Darnold is taking most of the starting reps. So that's why I would say he is, and I think he's definitely the closest.
I don't know. I think they really like McCown there. If Darnold was the guy, I think they would have put him over Bridgewater and McCown in the preseason game. McCown didn't even play. And that's usually sit your starters. But I guess he's a veteran. You don't really want him to get hurt. He has some injury problems. But I really like Josh McCown. I think he's a pretty good quarterback. I just don't think he's ever gotten any consistency. In Cleveland, he did a pretty decent job here in Cleveland. Just some injuries have kind of derailed his career. But we'll see what happens. I think they should start Darnold week 1, but I think McCown will be the starter.
Well, I think Darnold is.
Well, you're an idiot. So now we're going to move to our last question. Darius Geis, like we said, tore his ACL. Thursday on our show, we said that I said Geis is my sleeper running back, somebody you could pick up in the later rounds. So we got a question after somebody listened to the show. They said, well, since he was your sleeper, who's your sleeper now? Because he is gone for the year. And I'm glad he tore his ACL before we did our draft because I would have picked him.
You're glad he tore his ACL?
Before my draft because I would have picked him easily. So, yeah, I am glad he tore it before that. I'm glad the MRI came through.
Really screwed up.
Well, you said some pretty screwed up stuff too. So, who should you draft now that he's hurt? I think you got to go with the Broncos running back, Royce Freeman. I was able to pick him up. He is going to be that workhorse. He got a lot of carries on when they play Saturday. And he had about 40 yards, I think, on 5 to 6 carries, which is pretty good. He's going to be that workhorse all year. So I think Royce Freeman is the safe bet. You'll get him in the later rounds. I got him in the later rounds because I'm a really good fantasy player. But Royce Freeman is your guy if you can't draft Geis. If you drafted Geis, sucks for you. There's a lot of good backups out there, though, you can pick up. Especially after week 1, you'll start to see that more often. So that's it for our show today. Thank you for listening. We want to thank you to our sponsors, D's Home Cuts and A's Lawn Service. Set up your appointments with D's right away because he is leaving for college here soon, going to Big Akron. Won't be around for a little while. He's still going to be doing haircuts, but it's easier if you just set him up now before he leaves. We want to ask that you go on iTunes, give us 5 stars, rate, review, subscribe. Listen to us on 12 Ounce tomorrow at a new time, 7 a.m., 7 to 8 a.m. You can listen to our show. Listen to it on your way to work, on your way to school. I know school's starting up. It's a great time for us to get on the air, and we thank you to 12 Ounce for that. We ask that you go onto Twitter, follow us at TNT Sports Talk 12, or the Instagram, which we haven't really posted on Instagram in a while, but I'm sure Truman's working hard to get back on that horse, right?
Yep.
So let's see. So follow us on Instagram or Twitter. It's a great place for you to get in touch with us if you want to be a guest, have questions, comments, concerns. You want to tell Truman he's an idiot for thinking Kelvin Benjamin's, a big man. Go ahead and do that. You want to tell me I'm an idiot because I think Cam Newton did the right thing by going up to him? Do that. Tell us. We want to hear from you. It's great to get some interaction from you guys so we can help to keep growing this show. Listen to us on YouTube if you don't have an iPhone. You can find our page, TNT Sports Talk. Search it. But that's it for today. Tune in on Thursday. We're going to try to have a guest. We try to have a guest every show, but sometimes times don't work out. But we should have a guest on Thursday. Thank you. Have a great day. Tune in on Thursday.
Thank you. Go Packers.